Hello and welcome to the FXN video feature, Final Fantasy XIII, What We Know So Far. I'm Kyle Winan, and this year is Jamie Courts.
You may also know us from the FXN Final Fantasy XIII podcast, and we're going to be doing this in a style similar to that, so get used to it.
Pretty much winging it, but we don't have David here today, but you might see Lauren. Alright, what we're basically going to do is refresh your memory about what we know about the elusive Final Fantasy XIII. We got a couple different things. There's not actually that much to know, so I guess we'll just hit it up. First up, we have story. Not much known about the crazy prologue of the story, but what we do know is that it takes place between the world of Cocoon and Pulse. Cocoon is actually a floating city up in the air, and Pulse is the world below. Cocoon is actually made by a crystal with its own awareness, your consciousness, I guess, as a haven for all of humankind. And Pulse is actually a really big wilderness below. It does have people in it, but not like giant cities and stuff. It's more like giant wilderness. The people of Pulse at the beginning of Final Fantasy XIII, this is what we do know about the prologue, are fed up with Cocoon, and Lightning was chosen by the crystal of Pulse to lead the invasion of Cocoon. So, and that's about where we know, where we are in the cliffhanger. So, okay, on to developers.
So, Final Fantasy XIII is being developed by Square Enix, of course.
In Japan.
The team is very similar to that of Final Fantasy VII and Final Fantasy X, with Tetsuya Nomura as the character designer, which we know his designs from Final Fantasy VII and Kingdom Hearts. The director is Motomu Toriyama. Development actually started on the PlayStation 2, but was moved to the PlayStation 3 after Square Enix had made the Final Fantasy VII tech demo for the PlayStation 3 at E3 in May of 2005.
Snap.
Being developed by Square Enix's cross-platform engine, the Crystal Tools, and no release date's been given, but the game is expected to be released worldwide by the end of 2009.
Here's open.
Oh yeah. So Square Enix is actually releasing follow-up Final Fantasy XIII games. So far, we know of Final Fantasy Versus 13 on the PlayStation 3 and Final Fantasy Agito 13 for cell phones in Japan. And that's about it for developers.
Alright, and we have characters. We have 3 characters, 1, 2, 3. Lightning, lead character of Final Fantasy 13, confirmed. We have Mr. 33 centimeters, see him in the trailer riding a motorcycle. And then we have Pigtails Girl, who we've only seen scans of, but she's sort of... yeah. Alright, so Lightning, of course, the main character. Her name is actually a code name to disguise her real name. Don't know why, but she's described as mentally and physically strong, and she actually uses a gun blade sword thing, kind of like Squall, but this one transforms from either or, not both at the same time. And Mr. 33 centimeters rides the Shiva motorcycle. I'll get more to that when we talk about summons. But he's seen using an enemy pistol, so we don't really know what he's wielding. But he's described as a wild and goofy guy, and able to carry 2 people under his arms while running. And we don't actually know any more information about him because he's kind of I guess he's an elusive character too. And we got Pigtails Girl, who we do know is a resident of Pulse, and dresses like a resident of Pulse, and has pigtails, and that's about all we really know about her. So, next up is
the enemies. So there's no background information known about the enemies, just pretty much what we can summarize from the trailers. But what we have seen are soldiers, who are probably a basic enemy in Cocoon. They wear white helmets with a yellow and white uniform. They use automatic rifles and are seen in the trailer taking quite a lot of damage, so they probably won't be from the early parts of the game. The blue soldiers are distinguished from their blue outfits, surprisingly, and are quite a bit agile and attack with a staff.
Kind of like Reno from Advent Children.
Exactly. There's also drone guards that look like a roly-poly robot with police lights on their heads. Unknown use or function for those ones.
Coke machine.
Yeah, it could be Coke or some gumballs.
You gotta get some product placement. That's the word.
Yeah, energy drinks fall out of it.
Yeah.
It probably has weaponry of some kind, but it's not known for certain. There's robots that look like a torso and head with stubby legs and arms. They have jets on its legs, and it's seen falling off of a dropship. There's a beast that's reminiscent of the canine-like deep ground enemies from Dirge of Cerberus, and attacks seem to be just physical on those ones. Some of the possible bosses are Behemoth, that's seen in Cocoon in the trailer, appearing on a highway.
Ripping people apart. Not really.
Looks pretty badass.
Rips cars apart.
Yeah, it's speculated to be a behemoth, but it isn't for certain. He fights on all fours as well as standing up, and wears a bit of clothes and even has a sword. There's also an air unit that's a huge mechanical beast seen in the trailer, and it's stopping a hijacked train. It looks like a cross between a scorpion and a dragonfly and has large saw-like arms.
Slice and dice. Actually, it looks like a pizza cutter too. The most efficient pizza cutter ever. Delicious. Alright, and next up we have summons. And of course we have 4 that we know of, but there's going to be a lot more. But we have Shiva, Ifrit, Carbuncle, and Siren. Shiva, of course, is the ice summon all the way from Final Fantasy III onward. She, in this one, is actually 2 people and actually a motorcycle and transforms between that and is ridden by Mr. 33 centimeters. Summons in this game are supposedly in digital form, so they can be stored in discs, kind of like Carbuncle, who we see coming out of the disc in a scan, or in a motorcycle, I guess. But, alright. Then we have Ifrit, of course, the Demon Hellspawn, Mr. Fire Summon. I'm sure you all recognize him. He's been in Final Fantasy since Final Fantasy III as well. And Siren, who some of you may not know, I'm not too familiar with Siren myself, but she's originally a boss from Final Fantasy V and summoned in a few games onward. She's seen as an angelic woman in the scans we've seen so far. She's playing a harp. Usually she does very little damage as a summon, but she does cause silence to the enemies. So. Then we got Carbuncle, the little green puppy dog-like thing clown, and he looks kind of weird. We see him coming out of the disc, CD-ROM thing, and he's in past Final Fantasies, he's not attacked. He's just been more of a support summon, just giving status boosts prize. So we'll probably see something like that in Final Fantasy 13. Yeah. And gameplay. Oh, gameplay.
Yeah, I don't have anything on gameplay.
Oh yeah, we're gonna give it to Lauren. All right, Lauren is going to tell us about gameplay. Take it away, Lauren.
All right, thanks Kyle and Jamie. As you said, I'm Lauren. You might remember me from the XIII podcast. And I'm here to talk to you a little bit about Final Fantasy 13 and Final Fantasy Versus 13 gameplay. We don't know that much about what we're going to be doing in the game other than battle. We don't know what the world map is going to look like. We don't know what we're going to be doing outside of the battle system. But we do know that the battle system is going to be similar to Final Fantasy XII, but with a few twists thrown in from Final Fantasy VII, 8, and 10. We're not going to leave the screen to do battles just like we did in Final Fantasy XII. We're going to be able to see the enemies out on the field in real time. But what they have told us is that the battle system is not going to be quite as seamless. We're going to be entering in with a little more complexity. The battle system is going to be very similar to Advent Children. We're going to be seeing some very fast-paced and chain-together attacks. There's going to be no magic points in this battle system, which is a definite break from the norm. All the battle action is going to derive from a single ATB cost gauge. We're going to be seeing attacks, special abilities, and magic all being derived from one big point counter. Instead of an overdrive or a limit break, we're going to be using something called an overclock gauge. It's very much like a Kingdom Hearts drive gauge, where we'll have certain conditions load up the gauge, and then as soon as that happens, the character is going to engage in a limit break or an ultra powerful attack, much like an overdrive. And also the enemies around are going to slow down and give the character plenty of opportunity to use their powers to their fullest. Anyway, that's a little bit about gameplay, and back to Kyle and James.
Thank you, Lauren, for gameplay. All right, and that is about all we really know about Final Fantasy 13 so far. 2 years. That's all we know.
2 years, and that wraps it up.
That makes for an easy video.
Yeah.
All right. I'm Kyle Winan, and
I'm Jamie Courts.
We'll see you next on the FXN Final Fantasy 13 podcast for July 9th. Until then, see ya.